Hello, my name is Madeline Dumais, and this is my group's M2.2 presentation. Here you can see our combined site plan. Shonda's section is in the upper left, Haley's is in the upper right, mine is in the lower left, and Caesar's is in the lower right. As a group, we decided that we wanted to have pathways bisecting the site and then keep the middle of the site open for use for events or simply as a more private park for the residents in our buildings. We didn't want to put any specific programming there so that it could be flexible for all kinds of different things. As a group, we divvied up the different isometric elements that we wanted to look at. So I took a look at the cultural elements in the area, which I found that there really aren't a lot of things directly adjacent to our site. However, I did find a couple of food spots, a few art galleries. There is one educational building that I believe is just administrative. There is also an underground fighting arena, a music recording station, and some 21 plus locations as well.
The area of the community has a boxing gym, art gallery close to the site, and the future planning park under the bridge throughout the site with a soccer field, outdoor seating, garden, and pedestrian walkways under and on the bridge, and with the view of the river that is towards the west of the site.
The site is in an inopportune location for residential use as it is centered in a fully industrial zoned area. There is a residential zoned area close by, but it's important to note that since this is all industrial, the site requires a plethora of amenities to make the location livable for inhabitants. As this is already a disadvantaged location, there needs to be incentives for those that may move to the area.
In terms of overall sunlight and temperature on the site, the summer tends to be a dry season, and this usually runs between May and October. The temperatures are pretty hot, and we have clear skies, with the average being in the lower 80s and the overnight lows being in the mid to low 60s. The winter, on the other hand, tends to be the wet season, and this usually runs from November to April. The highs during this time are the mid to low 60s, and the overnight lows tend to be in the middle to low 40s. The isometric below shows the sun path that the sun takes throughout the year. You can see the first one goes through the summer and the other one in the winter. The results of my findings are consistent with that of other urban areas in the greater Los Angeles. Most of the wind that hits our site is coming mostly from the southwest direction, while we still have a slower breeze coming from the east of our site. Our site is unique in the fact that we have a close proximity to the river, and this allows us to receive an additional breeze in the early morning due to the uneven heating between the land and the adjacent water. Since the river is not a significant body of water, the effects of this are very inconsequential and were not really observed or even measured in our weather analysis. We use Ladybug as a plugin for Rhino that gives you a really good idea for the windrows, and that's what we have attached below. However, I do think that there are some potential areas for discrepancies, as this area is taken in a bunch of different locations throughout Los Angeles and not in our specific site. Noise pollution is very easily identifiable in our site, as the majority of it comes from the bridge overpass that is adjacent to our site, as well as the freeway that is relatively close to it as well. Some other areas come from the train tracks that are directly to the west, and should this project be elaborated, my suggestion would be to use acoustical glass for the curtain wall elements in the first 2 floors. And as you continue to go up, make a transition to a regular window system, as this should be sufficient in accommodating the sound insulation necessary for the site.
My portion of the site is the lower left-hand corner, which is directly adjacent to 2 different vehicular pathways, meaning that my residents will have extremely easy access in and out of the parking lot in the lower left-hand corner. It is also across the street from the park that is being built under the 6th Street Viaduct Bridge, and they have easy access to the bridge and everything on the other side from the pedestrian pathway that's directly across the street. There's also an art gallery and a skateboard rink close by, although they are separated from my section of the site by Caesar's.
My portion of the site is the northeast protected corner, With only neighboring pedestrian-only pathways, it would more so serve the surrounding local inhabitants or nearby businesses. To the east of the site, there is a direct connection to the residential neighborhood, and to the west, there is a direct connection to the LA River. Without access to the street, the parcel must provide adequate site entrances that welcome those, as it is assumed outsiders may not use the spaces often. The site is surrounded by industrial warehouses that are mostly used as photography and film sets.
My site is unique in the sense that it is very close to the future park. Some of the benefits that I have is that it's adjacent to a walking path and as well as very close to the major roads. So this makes transportation and just moving around the site very easy. I think that's very important for the fact that we're going to be having retail, commercial spaces on the first floor, so that'll definitely get some pedestrian traffic. Some of the downsides are obviously the noise pollution that we have. It's quite a noisy site. And then some of the other detriments is that obviously as well the relationship to the train tracks and the fact that the river is a little bit farther away from our site, so we don't get the benefit from the wind coming in the morning.
My site is located west top left corner of the site plan, with a pedestrian-only pathway on top of the site and a secondary road along the west of the site. To the west we got the LA River and also the bridge to the southwest. The surrounding area is access to many nearby businesses.